Hey everybody, hello and welcome to the show. Coming up this week, Disney legend Blaine Gibson dies at 97. Disney announces a replacement for Chief Financial Officer Jay Rasulo, and rumors are heating up that the changes to Disney's Hollywood studios may be a lot bigger than we thought, and may end up being the most expansive expansion in Disney's history, or expensive expansion. I gotta learn to write this stuff better. In the company's history. And a little later on, Kathy Whirling is going to talk about the World Showcase Destinations Discovered Tour at Epcot. All that coming up next. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Diz Unplugged. This is the Diz Unplugged, episode 827 for the week of July 7th, 2015. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I tried to stretch that out to get
you did. You did perfect.
There was an issue with one of the cameras, and Dustin had to run around, and so I was just trying to stretch that out so he had time before the camera came back on. Welcome to the show, everybody. Coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends Dustin West.
Hello, everyone.
Jenny Lynn Knopp.
Hey.
Kathy Whirling.
Hi, everyone.
Corey Martin.
I'm just happy to be here.
Oh, God, can you find something else? Back in the production nook, Rhino Clavin on the controls, along with associate producer Craig Williams.
Hello.
What?
No? All right. No? Everything okay?
No, we're good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's one of those days, and it's storming here, so just understand that if we start getting ground strikes that are too loud, too close, we are going to have to shut down the broadcast just for safety reasons, so please keep that in mind. A couple things in housekeeping. First and foremost, for those of you who are friend requesting me on Facebook, I've gotten a couple of emails in the last week from folks wanting to know why I'm not accepting their friend requests.
He hates you.
I do. Actually, the reason is that I have maxed out the number of friends that I am allowed to have on Facebook. That's a personal Facebook account, and you're only allowed to have 5,000. Only. But I have 5,000, and after that, it doesn't let you add any more. They do go into a queue, and I have this, I swear to God, there's 100 requests sitting there. The only way around that is to move my Facebook page to a fan page, and sorry, not going to happen. I can't.
You should start purging. Just start purging people.
Well, I don't. Yeah, okay. Yeah, fine. But so that's the reason why. It's not because I don't want to be your friend. It's just that, these are the limits Facebook puts on. And, I just can't bring myself to do the whole fan page thing. It just doesn't feel right to me. So that's why. So I just don't want anybody thinking that, I'm being stuck up. But, when friend slots open up, I go to the oldest request and I just approve it. And so,
it's a wait list.
It's a wait list. Really, I'm waitlisting friends. And if Facebook opened up that limit, I would absolutely just go ahead and approve everybody. So just wanted you to know it's not personal. It's not something like that. So there's that. I want to remind everyone about the Disneyland edition of the Diz Unplugged, live every Sunday night, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, on Mixlr.com, Mixlr.com. The shows go up on the Monday and Tuesday. There's a new show goes up on Monday. Their segments go up on Tuesday on iTunes and on DizUnplugged.com. What is this week's show about, Dustin?
On this week's episode of the Disneyland show, the listener Lynn returns with a trip report from her Disneyland and Universal Studios vacation, and the Disneyland ladies talk about what to do with all of those pictures you took on your Disneyland vacation. So that's their segments for this week. I also just wanted to mention that me and Jenny Lynn are sitting here right now because John and Kevin couldn't make it, and apparently some folks are under the weather, so we hope that they feel a little bit better today.
Right.
Just wanted to throw that out there as well.
Also, they don't know this. I'm just going to tell them all right now. Since Dustin and I and John and Kevin are going to be out in California next week with our next Backstage Magic, Jenny Lynn's going to be hosting.
Oh. All right.
Surprise! Jenny Lynn's going to be hosting the show. So next Tuesday, there you go. Because we're not going to be able to do a pre-record. So.
Okay.
Fun.
See you then, everybody.
But you're much more comfortable with it now. I mean, you do your show every week, and you know.
We'll be good. No worries. We got this.
Crino and Reg. Which is what I was just going to say. Rhino and Craig will be here. Julie will probably be here.
Yep.
If not, Corey, Kathy, and Teresa. You have all your friends to help you out and have a good show. So just letting you guys know about that. Now, speaking of the trip, Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Eastern, disunplugged.com. What is this week's show?
This week we're showing a dining review that Teresa and I did for the Tin Roof in Orlando on iDrive.
Yes.
Awesome.
The end.
I heard good things about that because you pre-recorded that, right?
Yeah.
We did.
Fun
Yeah.
episode.
I heard very good things about that episode. So.
The tin roof is not rusted.
Okay.
That song did
But
play
I will
there.
still sing that song for you if you want.
Get a little B-52s in there. And, of course, let's talk about the Universal edition of the Diz Unplugged as he rushes back to his seat, starring the lovely and talented Craig Williams along with Rhino Clavin, Dustin West, and Jenny Lynn Knopp. Thursdays, 1 p.m. Eastern, disunplugged.com. But right now, there is bonus content for those of you who are thinking about a Universal trip. Why don't you talk a little bit about what's going on this week, Craig?
Yeah, so for anyone who hasn't been keeping up with our show, first off, shame on you. What are you doing with your life?
You can't threaten to withdraw love and support the way I can. They just don't care as much.
Oh, I'm not threatening them, but I do want to know what their issue is. So that's obviously a problem. But right now we have our Universal Land and Sea coverage going on. So for people out there who don't know, Universal and Royal Caribbean actually partnered up together, similarly to how Walt Disney World offers their land and sea.
No, they really don't
cruise.
offer land and sea packages anymore.
They don't anymore?
Not really.
Okay, well, I don't keep up on the times, and I don't cruise by myself. So that also happens. But Royal Caribbean and Universal, you still can. You essentially choose between a 3 or 4 night package at Universal Orlando, and then you can also pair that with a 3 or 4 night cruise on Royal Caribbean's The Enchantment of the Sea. If you're an international guest, you actually get an added benefit because you can add on a 7-night cruise with the Freedom of the Sea.
Well, I mean, but even not just international.
Checking on that information, I think they changed it.
Yeah,
I haven't been able to get.
I can't imagine they would tell a U.S.
Yeah, I think
guest, no, you can't do a 7.
Still waiting to hear the exact details of it because they just recently revamped the whole experience back in February, so it's all still new for them. So yeah, we essentially did this. We had our entire team each at one of the hotels, so we could review it for a couple nights, and then we took the cruise on Enchantment of the Seas. And each day this week, obviously Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we are releasing a special show and a lot of great content that goes up with it. Reviews. Jenny Lynn did some blogs about family activities at all the destinations that we did, and Rhino put together some wonderful videos, and we have some entertaining shows. I think they're entertaining.
So yesterday, Monday, was Portofino Bay.
Yes.
The review of Portofino Bay went up. Today, Tuesday, Hard Rock Hotel. Tomorrow's Royal Pacific. Thursday is Cabana Bay. And then Friday is our review of Enchantment of the Seas.
Exactly.
So we have, a lot of content going up. It's kind of like the Universal 7 and 7, but it's really more like an 8 and 5.
Exactly. Yeah, there was
8 days of, because it was 4 days at Universal and 4 days on the cruise, and we're covering it in 5 days.
There was just no pretty way of saying it.
I'm doing every day of the cruise.
The Land and Sea Adventure.
Yes, that's it's a much better name. So that's going on right now, and then of course Thursday you have your Universal edition, right? Or no? You're not putting one up this week?
We're going to just use that show. I don't want to cannibalize on the great content we have going up.
Oh, he's
this
just
week.
lazy and doesn't want to do another
No.
show.
I also
See,
won't
I
be
did,
here.
you know, I did regular shows while we were doing 7 and 7. So, wow, that really just, you know, I'm just throwing you right under the bus there.
Man.
Sorry.
Right under there. I'm going to go back to fixing issues.
Burn. As he leaves the frame.
So check that out all this week. You can go to universal.wdwinfo.com to find all those videos, blogs, photo galleries, everything, the shows. Of course, on youtube.com/wdwinfo. It's all there as well. And so very excited about that. Go check that out. And just want to get a plug out for the upcoming Diz Meets to raise money for Give Kids the World. Nova Scotia coming up next, August 16th, I believe is the date. Dustin and I, along with Kathy and Teresa, will be up there. And the reason more of us are not going to be there is that everybody else is going to be out in California doing D23. But over 100 people already signed up for Nova Scotia. And I was speaking with Evelyn yesterday, or texting with Evelyn yesterday. Evelyn McNamara, who's the coordinator of that meet. She feels confident that they can get up maybe over 200 this year.
Wow.
Good for her.
Wow.
And she says that there are a lot of folks from the States coming up, more and more. So some of you guys are listening to me. And everybody last year who went up to Halifax at my urging for this meet, at one point during the weekend said to me, "You were so right." Words I never get tired of hearing. So if you are looking for I realize the airfare can be a little dicey. But if you're looking for a unique last-minute getaway, do something, have a great experience in a most beautiful place, and help, be with some other fellow Dizzers and raise some money for a great cause. Come on up to Halifax the weekend of the 16th of August and join us. And I promise you will be one of those people that will come up to me and say, "You know what? You're right. Halifax is beautiful, and the people of Nova Scotia, the folks that we meet at these meets, just the warmest, nicest people." And of course, Evelyn, there's just nothing bad to say about Evelyn.
She'll be the tornado running
Yeah,
around.
she is. This woman is a force of nature. This woman's a force of nature. But,
Their whole team made us
The entire
feel
team.
welcome.
Yeah. And all you have to do is just walk around Halifax for an evening or drive around the local area and just you appreciate how cool the culture is there and how beautiful the landscape is there.
And somebody had said to me that, I think it was Marcy at the Hershey meet, was like, "I don't eat seafood. I don't like seafood, so I really don't want to go to Halifax." Okay, hear me clearly on this. While I've heard, because I don't eat seafood either. I don't eat seafood at all. And for the people that I've gone up there with that do say it's incredible seafood. Obviously, it's
is.
Nova Scotia. But I'm going to tell you, I was stunned. My first visit up there and subsequent visits now, I was stunned by how I'm not sure what the right word is. How the food was great. Every place we went to eat, but it was beyond that. It was very. It was kind of what I would have expected. The type of food and the creativity of the dishes and the types of restaurants. What I would have expected from kind of maybe New York or San Francisco definitely, an upscale type experience without necessarily an upscale type price.
Yeah.
Right.
It's also the beer capital of Canada. There's more pubs there per capita in Halifax.
But also good pubs. I mean,
Yeah.
good beers,
Yeah,
too.
good
You
beers,
have
good pubs.
often talked about how good the beers are. That's why Dustin likes to go to Nova Scotia. Seafood and beer. So, I mean, just a lot to do, a lot to see, a lot to experience. It is a great... It is one of the things. It's definitely a highlight of my year, of my travel year, and love being up in Halifax. So please, if you're looking for something fun to do, kind of last minute right now, because it's a little over a month away, head on up to Halifax the weekend of August 16th and join us. It's going to be a great time. So we have that meet coming up. Of course, the Indianapolis meet, the end of August. We'll have links to all this in the show notes page, disunplugged.com. Middle of September, the New England meet. Middle of October, the Delaware meet. So lots and lots of meets coming up. But Halifax, Nova Scotia, next on the list, August 16th. Please come up and join us. So that is everything I have in housekeeping. Anybody else have anything?
I do. I want to let everybody know to be on the lookout, whether it's social, the Diz, the boards. We are going to be releasing custom Diz Magic Bands and also custom Diz iPhone cases.
Oh, cool.
The one you showed me before looked awesome.
Yeah, I'm sporting one right now. I'm just kind of testing it out.
Oh.
It's pretty cool. But we have a whole variety of Diz Magic Bands coming out, Diz Unplugged Magic Bands. And when I say custom, that you can actually add your name to it. We partnered with a website, Magic Your Band, and I'm going to be releasing the links through social and the Diz and everywhere else. So be on the lookout for those. If you were at the Hershey meet, you got a chance to see those firsthand and put it up.
Corey's been working on this for a little while now.
Yeah, we've been kind of playing with it, testing materials that come in, and it's been fun.
And once you have those links ready, just shoot me an email. I'll put them on the show notes page for everybody that listens as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else in housekeeping? No? No one?
Say.
Okay. So let's talk about the poll from last week. We asked, will you skip any of the theme parks, if any, during your next visit to Walt Disney World? This was spawned by a listener who sent in a poll saying that their family is going to skip Hollywood Studios because there's really nothing to do there. And it's kind of gotten old. And wanted to know if other people felt the same way. Well, 50% of you said you were going to hit every park at least once on your next visit. 23% of you said you were going to skip at least one park. 16% said you would visit every park multiple times. And 11% said they would skip multiple parks. So about 34% of the audience going to skip at least one park or more. But 66% saying doesn't matter. That they're going to,
Honestly, that's a bigger number than I would have expected. 34%. I mean, it's not the majority, but that's
given the state of Hollywood Studios right now.
Yeah, that's what
I'm surprised the number is 66% are going to visit every park at least once, if not more than once.
Well, I try to put myself in the shoes of somebody who maybe comes only once every year, every 2 years, who listens to the show, who's a big Disney fan, and only comes down that often. Even if everything was under construction, I'd probably still want to at least hit Hollywood Studios for a morning to ride Rock and Roller Coaster and have a park hopper.
I would think it's not that big of a deal if you have a park hopper.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a park hopper and you're just doing one park per day, then I would think skipping Hollywood Studios would probably be the way that people would go because there's just not that much open anymore.
Yeah. Park hop, definitely do it. If you only have one park tickets, yeah, I would skip Hollywood Studios in its current state and its future state.
Do you think that Disney, with all the things that they're closing, should offer a reduced price to Hollywood Studios if you're buying a one-day ticket?
They should, but they never will.
Yes,
Right, I know they never will.
Ever will. And I understand the business reason behind that. If you do that, if they were to do that right now, if they were to say, listen, you know what, because all this stuff is closed, because we're doing all this, and we're going to drop the price to $75, in everybody's mind, that's going to be the value of the park.
Right.
And then when they open up all this new stuff, they're going to have to jump in price from 75 back to 90, whatever. That they can't do.
You could also get more complaints saying, if something's not working the day that they're there, hey, give me my money back because
floodgates.
If something doesn't work, you're supposed to charge less.
If they didn't reduce the price with Polynesian and all that construction, they're not going to do it with a park.
If they don't reduce the price, which I don't see how they could feasibly do, like you're saying, I think they should at least throw out a warning to people who are buying tickets. Say, just so you know, there's not a whole lot open at Hollywood Studios.
But as we're going to discuss in a little bit in the news, the scope of this expansion, based on this is rumor right now,
right?
But the scope and sheer magnitude of what might be coming would be the single largest expansion of a theme park in Disney's history. And that's, keep in mind, they spent $1 billion, I believe, on California Adventure after they built it, to expand it and bring it up to speed. They spent $1 billion, and this would be larger. So we're going to talk about that coming up. But as promised last week, 2 people have won $50 Disney gift cards because they answered our poll. Anita Hines-Hurst and Stacy Miller both get $50 Disney gift cards for this, as well as, I don't have the person's name in front of me, but person who sent us the poll. So I believe Stacy got back to me with her address. Anita, you need to check your messages on Facebook.
Anita, check the messages.
Anita address. So Anita man. So
Anita man.
That's like an old drag name, Anita man. All right, so that's that, and we're going to throw it over to Dustin with the news.
Excellent. Well, first and foremost, Blaine Gibson, Disney legend behind Pirates and Haunted Mansion, dies at the age of 97. Legendary Disney animator and sculptor Blaine Gibson, who designed some of the most iconic images in the company's theme parks around the world, died on Sunday at the age of 97. Gibson worked alongside Walt Disney during the development of Disneyland, and his sculptures were used to create the faces of characters in rides such as Pirates of the Caribbean and the Haunted Mansion, as well as the Enchanted Tiki Room. He also sculpted Partners, a statue of Walt Disney holding the hand of Mickey Mouse that sits in front of the castles at Disneyland and Walt Disney World, among other places. Family friend Carla Larissa Fahlberg wrote on Facebook that Gibson had watched 101 Dalmatians, a film he worked on as an animator, with his grandson before he took his final nap. Gibson, who was born in Colorado in 1918, joined Disney in 1939. In addition to 101 Dalmatians, he worked as an animator on Bambi, Song of the South, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, and Sleeping Beauty, according to IMDb. Although an animator, Gibson's hobby was sculpture. Walt Disney saw one of Gibson's art exhibitions, and in 1954, asked him to work on Disneyland a year before the theme park would open. Gibson initially wasn't crazy about leaving animation to work in the theme parks. Quote, "I didn't think it was that important, but then I was told Walt was expecting me to work on these projects, and so I said to myself, what the heck?" And he went with it. Since then, he has directed the sculpture of every U.S. president used in the Hall of Presidents in Walt Disney World up to George W. Bush. And Gibson is the recipient of 2 of the company's biggest honors, a window on Main Street and the Disney Legends Award.
Yeah, it's, was he 98? 97. Talk about having had a full and brilliant life.
Yeah. And how influential he is and all this stuff that we love.
But exactly. I mean, he's touched everything. He's touched everything that, you can touch, basically, from the films to the theme parks, Imagineering, you name it, and has definitely a huge impact on Disney, on the parks. And it just makes me think that, these guys are getting up there. These legends that worked with Walt, one by one, we're losing them. And that's why those moments when we get to have experiences where we can hear Marty Sklar and some of the other, legends who work side by side with Walt Disney. Bob Gurr is another example. Take every opportunity we can to hear their stories and learn from their experiences because, it's just the nature of life. I mean, we move on. We move on. So the number of people that actually worked alongside Walt Disney dwindles all the time. So keeping that alive as much as we can, I think, is important. So
excellent.
That's all I have.
All right. Well, moving on, the Walt Disney Company appoints Chief Financial Officer and Chief Strategy Officer. The Walt Disney Company has named Christine M. McCarthy their Chief Financial Officer after the resignation of Jay Rasulo, and Kevin Mayer has been appointed Chief Strategy Officer of the Walt Disney Company. McCarthy moves from her role as Executive Vice President from Corporate Real Estate, Alliances, and Treasurer, and she will now oversee investor relations and corporate stuff, real estate, facilities, a whole bunch of stuff.
She's in charge of the money.
She is doing
She's
a
in
lot.
charge of the money. Let's see. Kevin Mayer began his career at Disney in 1993 as a manager of strategic planning for interactive and television internet businesses, and had left the company at one point to actually work for Clear Channel Interactive, and is now back at the Disney company. He had at one point served as executive vice president of corporate strategy and business development.
Yeah, it's a typical management shuffle.
Do we know where Jay Rasulo is going?
Off to the farm.
He's
He's been put out to pasture.
I think he's going home to lick his wounds.
He's okay.
I mean, yeah, he's fine financially. He's fine, but the stuff I've heard was that this wasn't necessarily pretty. That it wasn't necessarily a pretty thing. That there was a, look, when you're at that level,
Right.
and it's between you and another guy for the top spot at one of the biggest corporations in the world, and certainly the most recognizable name brand in the world. You've worked your whole career. When you're at that level in those positions, you've worked your whole career to get there. Mm-hmm. You don't work your whole career necessarily just to be CFO of a company like that. Yeah. You're looking at that because you're a heartbeat away from the next spot. Mm-hmm. And I think there was some disappointment.
Well, not only that, but due to social media these days, everyone was watching that.
Oh,
Everyone was watching to see who was going to pull out and take the spot. So it's done probably a little bit more publicly, I would think, than it has, years and years past, if anything like that has, happened.
Yeah, no, it's, and honestly, as my feeling from the theme park standpoint, and I realize theme parks is just one part of that business, but as somebody who watches and pays attention to the theme parks, there's no question in my mind that Tom Staggs was the best choice to take over.
Yeah.
And that Jay Rasulo, Tom Staggs seems to have that creative vibe and that creative energy about him, where Jay Rasulo, when he was in charge of parks and resorts, I don't think anybody was using those words to describe him.
No.
And there was no point for him to stick around, because he waits another 10 years, Tom Staggs is going to retire, and then he'll be even older.
No. Tom Staggs is way too young. Tom Staggs, unless the board forces him out, there's some reason that he has to go. I'm telling you right now, he's going to be around for a good solid 20 plus years.
Yeah. My point being, Jay Rasulo just can't wait it out.
No.
He can't.
Well, no, at that point, when it's between you and somebody else gets it, you're done.
Yeah.
He wouldn't, even if he did try and wait it out, he still wouldn't get the job.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you're second best, you're second choice, and nobody wants to be that.
Right.
So, I think the right choice was made.
I agree.
And
Tom Staggs is charming. That never hurts anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's that.
He is.
And Jay is sitting in a corner, dabbing his eyes with $100 bills. So
Yeah.
he's all good. He's all good.
Poor
all right.
thing.
I was thinking about skipping this one just so we can get to the meat and potatoes, unless you really want.
Oh no! So we have to talk about this. Are you
Do
kidding?
you? Okay. Excellent.
We got to talk about this.
All right. Orlando Eye stalls for 3 hours, stranding
Oh, yeah.
passengers in hot Orlando
Rhino.
sun.
This was my nightmare.
Rhino.
No, thank you.
You were the first person I thought of when I read this story.
The Orlando Eye, Orlando's newest mega attraction, stranded 66 passengers for 3 hours on Friday after it broke down, the Orlando Sentinel reported. The 400-foot-tall Florida Ferris wheel with unforgettable views left riders wishing they could forget the whole thing after it got stuck. A technical glitch stopped the wheel turning at 3:45 p.m., and a backup generator was needed to move the massive ride. Still freaking out, and it's been 40 minutes now, quotes Michaela Bell, a tourist from Indiana. And she said the sealed gondolas got hot fast once the air conditioning stopped working. Mm-hmm. And then another tourist said, man, does it feel good to be back on the ground.
I was
3
following
hours.
that in the moment on Twitter, and I told Julie, I was like, can you imagine? Because we did it with the kids. I said, can you imagine if we were up there with the kids for 3 hours?
In July, in Florida, with no air conditioning,
And no
and
bathroom.
basically a greenhouse.
Yeah, you can't even like crack a window in that
No.
thing.
No.
Now, I didn't want to do it before. I definitely don't want to do it.
At least,
I
what was it, about a
love
year
that.
ago? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No,
Oh,
go,
just
go.
just one at a time is what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
About a year ago or so, when the monorail broke down, at least they had like a window that they could crack. That was the same deal in the middle of summer, hot.
And they
stuck
weren't
in it.
400 feet in the air.
That's the caveat there.
Yeah. Oh, I don't. I was just saying I love the Orlando. I had a good time when we went on it, but that would just be really intense.
She
3
watched me
hours.
have a panic attack while
Yeah.
we were on
You
it.
don't want to go
No,
on the
like
ride with
if
me.
we had been in there with Rhino stuck for 3 hours, we would have definitely had a problem.
One of you would
Plus,
have
what
had
if you
to
have to
knock
go to the
me out.
bathroom?
I can
Yeah.
trace my fear of heights back to a state fair in Colorado when I was 3 or 4 years old, and being on a Ferris wheel that didn't even break down; it just stopped at the top.
Ugh.
And I remember it. I still remember it, and flipping out. And my mother didn't want me to go on. It's like, he's gonna get scared. Don't put him on it. My grandmother, God rest her soul, was like, "No, let him go." And then, of course, when it stopped and I started screaming, my grandmother started yelling at the ride operator in Italian. And get him off of there. But I remember that experience, and I trace my fear of heights back to that. And I was able to do the London Eye when we were out in London the first time, or the second time, I think it was. And I did the London Eye, and I was okay.
Yeah.
I was okay. Enclosed like that, I'm better than I am if it's open air. Had it broken down for 3 hours, oh, hell no. That would have been ugly if
Now,
that had happened.
I wonder if they did anything for them. I mean, don't give me a free ride.
No.
I mean,
Good Lord,
because
no.
this is dramatic. I mean,
You're not
I
gonna
know
get back on.
Julie would have been flipping out. I know Ferris would have been flipping out.
Well, all I saw in the news, they got the chance to ride it again.
Oh,
They didn't
thank
get,
you.
They didn't get their money back. It's like, no, thank you. Just
Not
no.
only should they have gotten their money back, but they should have gotten something on top of that and not another ride. But
Yeah.
I just-
Oh.
3 hours, that's...
the,
Yeah, that's
the
permanent.
heat, the stuffiness. If you
No.
have to go to the bathroom, I mean, I'm trying to imagine being in there for 3 hours with Ferris, who
Well,
would
we-
have a difficult time maybe even understanding.
We did it, and Ferris was hungry before we went, but it wasn't lunchtime yet. We said, okay, let's do the Ferris wheel, and then we'll go eat right after. So I couldn't imagine
If he had been
thinking
there-
it was just going to be a short ride, and we're there for 3 hours,
he's
and we have
hungry.
nothing with us really, except goldfish.
No. No. That is my answer. That is my answer to this. No. So, all right. Now, let's get on to the meat and potatoes.
Okay.
This is the story I can't wait to talk about.
Rumor alert. Disney's Hollywood Studios set for $3 billion expansion and a new name. Now, this comes from a blog and entertainment website called thisisinfamous.com. Again, it is all rumored, and in the article, he even states that this is all hearsay from people he may or may not know in the company. He reports a $3 billion park expansion is in the works that will include farewells to many favorites and welcome many long-awaited changes, including a new Star Wars and Indiana Jones attractions. Social media speculation on future park plans has been active as attractions from the American Idol experience to Disney's Art of Animation have closed. That's not correct. It should be Disney's Magic of Disney Animation. And according to the most recent information, the only survivors in the wake of the renovation will be the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster Star Tours, Toy Story Mania, and the Great Movie Ride, a.k.a. the rides that are in the park, not the shows. According to information in this blog, the long-awaited Star Wars attraction would include a look into Jedi Master Yoda's homeworld Dagobah and would be built at the park's existing Echo Lake. The Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular would be replaced by an updated version of Disneyland's Indiana Jones Adventure Ride, and Pixar Place will add 3 new attractions along with an expansion of the current Toy Story Mania. And just speaking on the name change, the speculated name change, reported Disney's Hollywood Adventure.
that's what I heard months ago. That's
Yeah,
what the name was
that
gonna be.
name's been floating around. I want to focus on the number here. $3 billion. And I want to put that in perspective. It cost them $1 billion to build a ship. Okay? I think the Dream came in about $1.2 billion, if I'm not mistaken. Animal Kingdom in 1998 was built for about $900 million. They've added on to it since then.
The entire park?
The entire park.
Holy crap.
The expansion or the overhaul of California Adventure was a $1 billion project. That added Buena Vista Street. Cars Land was added to that. So, on spec, $3 billion sounds a little ridiculous.
This is exactly what I said when I first heard this. It is just ridiculous.
But it's not. It's not ridiculous at all, and I'm going to tell you why. I have been saying for months, Disney needs to respond to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Avatar Land ain't going to do it. It's just not. They need to respond. This is now getting, and I've also been saying they're dropping crab cakes in their shorts every time Universal announces something, because Universal is expanding, and Disney's just kind of hanging out.
Closing things,
changing things.
Building parking garages.
Yes. They need to do something to respond. And they have to do it at Hollywood Studios. It is the next best place to do it. Does anybody believe that the expansion of Pixar Place is not going to include Cars Land?
It's got to have some portion of
Does
it.
anybody believe that the addition of a Star Wars land is simply going to be one or two attractions? No. Look at the space that we're talking about here.
The Indiana Jones attraction in the story surprised me.
I don't think that's true.
I mean,
I don't think that's
I don't
true.
think that's true either.
No.
There's no way you're going to
Excited
do Echo Lake and then you're going to have Indiana Jones right
There's
there.
going to be
There's
two
no way.
things. There's going to be an expansion of Pixar Place that, as we pointed out last week or the week before, we actually looked on Google Maps and did some comparisons. The amount of space available when you take out Lights, Motors, Action and the backlot tour is almost exactly the same amount of space they use for Cars Land out in California. So that expansion, yes, we already know about the Toy Story Mania expansion going on right now. That's in process right now. It's either going to be Cars Land back there, or it's going to be a version of other Pixar properties. But it's going to be all Pixar related, and Cars Land will certainly have a presence. Cars will have a presence there. So that's going to happen. Star Wars, folks, they're getting ready to reboot this franchise in December, and from everything that is being said and all the indicators right now in the ether, there is no doubt in my mind this is going to be huge. Huge expansion, multiple attractions, multiple restaurants, stores, experiences, multiple, not one or two. We're not going to give Star Tours a facelift and add something else here. This is going to be a complete takeover of Echo Lake and beyond. This is going to be a complete takeover.
Yeah.
So when you start getting into that, when you start thinking that it cost X number of dollars to build Animal Kingdom 20 years ago, you adjust for inflation, and you look at the size and scope, $3 billion may be high, but I'll tell you what, it's closer to 3 than it is to 1. And that is probably what's going to happen here. This is going to be massive, and it's going to have to be fast. They're going to have to start opening stuff. They're going to have to start opening stuff within 18 months, and if they can't begin showing progress with this inside of 18 months of the announcement, then the amount of opening Universal is going to have to respond, because they're going to announce this in 6 weeks. They're going to announce this at D23, folks.
All but certain.
I guarantee it. It's going to happen at D23. We're going to find out. Finally, the answers will come. No more speculation. We're going to know exactly what's coming to Hollywood Studios at D23.
I hope we get a timeline with it.
From that, the clock starts ticking. The clock starts ticking. And if you don't think that Comcast and Universal isn't going to respond, they're going to look. They're gaining market share. They're not just going to sit back. Not a company being this aggressive. They're going to respond. And they're going to respond big. And I think you might see within 6 months the announcement of a third gate at Universal in response to this. Because effectively what Disney is going to be doing with this expansion is pretty much leveling Hollywood studios and doing it all over again. They're going to leave some things in. Toy Story Mania stays, Rock and Roller Coaster stays, Tower of Terror stays. But outside of that, everything else is on the table. Everything else is on the table. So I don't think $3 billion is so crazy. I think it's high. But Disney's losing market share. And if the price tag does come in at $3 billion, then everything I have been saying is right. Everything I've been saying for months is right, because that means you spend $3 billion when you're scared.
And if everything I think about the new Star Wars film that's being released in December, in terms of box office weekends and popularity, I think they can put down their down payment with the box office sales of the new Star Wars movie.
There was 2 other rumors in that article that I hate to bring up because it makes me sad.
Okay.
So I'm waiting to see what happens. But
What were the other ones?
Illuminations is supposed to be going away, and Figment.
Illuminations being revamped to a new show.
It's time.
And then,
I mean, look, I love Illuminations, and it's awesome, but this was the show that we got in 98 or 99.
after the 25th anniversary. Yeah.
And so, I can see them doing that. And I know, honey, I know.
I know.
But
well,
you know what?
I'm hoping they do something with it.
Maybe 4th time's a charm.
Yeah, maybe. I would hate to
Well,
see it go away.
they got it right the first time.
Right.
They'll do a Figment statue.
They got to do it right.
Oh,
They did it
more
right.
than that.
I think whatever they do, they'll include Figment
They'll
in it.
dedicate a garden to him.
I
hope
think
so.
whatever they do, they would include Figment in it. But it is time for that to change. It
Oh, yeah.
really
Oh,
is.
yeah.
It just simply isn't
Just
popular.
can't go away.
They'll put him in the pet cemetery with Mr.
That's
Toad.
right.
Outside haunted mansion.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh will get the deed.
His
from
eyes
him.
will look at you.
But yeah, so that's
Yeah, I mean, we're just waiting to hear the announcement. My big thing is when they make the announcement, I hope that they release some sort of timeline with this. That's my hope.
they're going to have to.
Yeah.
They're going to have to. They're not going to be able to say we're going to do all this stuff and we'll let you know when we're done. They're going to have to put out some kind of timeline. And my guess is if they announce it in August, they're going to say completion by, I'll go out on a limb, I'll say completion by summer 2018.
That's pretty good.
That's when the next movie's supposed to come out.
And I would say that at least some portion of it would need to open by the end of 2016. By spring of 2017, some portions of it would need to start opening. If they can't hit that timeline with this project, then they are going to be giving Universal a wide berth in responding quickly, because right now Universal is building things 3 times faster than Disney can. I'll go back to I'll just let me finish this.
Yeah.
I'll go back to what I said. It took Disney 3 times longer to build a parking garage than it took Universal to put up Transformers. It took Disney 3 times longer to build a parking garage than it took Universal to build Transformers. If that stays the case here, if they keep doing this stupidity of the 5-year
Plan.
taking 5 years to pave a roadway, then they are just going to give their competitors way too much room to come in and take even more market share. So this is going to have to happen, and if they don't have it done by the summer of 2018, don't even bother breaking ground.
And I think we can take the closest thing that we can relate to this that's happened in Disney history recently has been Cars Land and Buena Vista Street at California Adventure. 2 brand new lands coming online at the same time. Now, with those two, they did a grand reveal weekend where it was all shut off, fences, couldn't even walk through any of it. And then they grand revealed it all in the matter of 3 days. This, I think you're saying...
How long did it take him to do that?
I think it was like 2 or 3 years from announcement. I
don't remember.
The difference between 2 and 3 years obviously is a big difference.
Can somebody look that up real quick?
Craig's on it. But I think what you said, the way they handled Cars Land and Buena Vista Street was great for Disneyland. I think that they should phase it out here. I think they should, when one portion's done, phase into it. Open a restaurant, a Star Wars restaurant.
The difference being Disneyland doesn't have somebody 20 minutes away that's gunning for him.
Yeah.
Okay, really and truly. I don't think what goes on at Universal, which is over an hour away from Disneyland in Los Angeles, I don't think it has as much of an impact on Disneyland as what Universal here does on Disney World. What do you got?
Timeline goes with December 2006 concept art for all the changes at California Adventure started popping up unofficially, and then the announcement was in 2007 with opening in 2012.
So it took them 5 years.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
It took them 5 years to do that. And I'll tell you what, if it takes them 5 years to do this, Universal...
We'll have
Again,
Nintendo up and running by then.
They're going to have a third gate up and running by then. I'm not kidding. They're going to have a third gate.
It can't take them that long. They can't.
No, it can't take 5 years. It can't. If they make this announcement and they say 2021 for this, first of all, the beating they're going to take on social media is going to be epic. Second, interest is simply not going to be there. And the more Universal does, the more Universal opens, the more Universal announces, the more attention they're going to get. If they can't capitalize on these films, the money they're spending rebooting Star Wars, if they can't capitalize on that, the same way they're going to have to capitalize on the next run of Avatar films. James Cameron has filmed 3 of them. I believe they're all in post at this point, and 2017 is the next one.
That sounds right.
And that's when they're supposed to open Avatar Land and Animal Kingdom. They're going to have to time that out because Avatar should be a big movie. I mean, it is, to date, I believe, the highest grossing film ever. It beat Titanic.
I think Jurassic World just...
No, because Avatar is over 2 billion plus. Jurassic World isn't there
I'm
yet.
thinking of opening weekend.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about overall box office. So, don't rule out Avatar.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't think the pop culture influence of Avatar is strong enough to counter Harry Potter.
No, it's not.
Star Wars, however, is. Star Wars, however, can. And they're going to have to pull a rabbit out of a hat. And I think they have to, whatever they announce, they're going to have to be able to do it in 3 years. And that means crews working around the clock. And yeah, they're going to have to pay that money. And if it's going to be $3 billion, that's probably why it's going to have to be $3 billion, because they know damn well they have to do this quickly.
Double the labor.
All right, we're running way long here. So good discussion, guys.
Yeah.
All right, that is going to do it for the news. We're going to move on to rapid fire, and I'll go ahead and start with you, Dustin.
I'm going to make it real rapid. Blaze Fast Fired Pizza coming to Disney Springs. Blaze Fast Fired Pizza is a fast, casual, artisanal pizza restaurant all over the country. This build-your-own pizza chain uses extra hot ovens to cook the 11-inch pizzas in 3 minutes and will occupy a new 5,000 square foot building with room for 200 guests and will open in May next year.
Now, you were over at Downtown Disney to watch a movie over the weekend. How was it down there?
I was in the West Side area near the dine-in theaters. and they've made that place look really great. Along the roadway, the pedestrian overpasses are really coming together now. I'm sure they'll be done relatively soon. I didn't make my way into the Pleasure Island area where they've been adding a lot of stuff, so I don't know what the current state of that is.
But I mean, in terms of parking and stuff, it was July 4th weekend.
Parking was a breeze, and I got there.
It was actually July 4th you were there.
It was
wasn't it?
July 4th at 2 p.m., and I rolled right into the parking deck, no problems.
Okay. All right. Then, yay.
Yeah.
Great. No, honestly, I'm very excited about Downtown Disney.
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
excited. I always have been. It was that parking nightmare, but it seems like we've, our long national nightmare is over.
I also saw the I-4 exit ramp. I saw the construction for that.
Yeah, they're chipping
making-
away at that.
Yeah.
But now that with all this downtown Disney construction, it really makes me want to stay at Saratoga Springs.
Yeah,
I
once
never
it's
wanted
done.
to before.
Wow. Who'd have thought that sentence would come out anybody's mouth?
But it's being right there and all the nightlife they're going to have and restaurants and bars and
Why you want me?
bars.
I started hearing something. Sorry. Now
Someone
I'm on
else-
you.
Rapid.
All right. Well, thank you, Dustin.
You're welcome.
Okay, mine is Typhoon Lagoon hosts an after-hours neighborhood beach bash for DVC members. So this is just for DVC members. It's an after-hours party that's going to be at Typhoon Lagoon. DVC members and their guests are welcome to go, but you have to be staying on Disney property during that time. So when you make your reservation to be there, you need to also have your reservation number available. Let's see. This is a complimentary event. Takes place from 9:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. on July 23rd, 28th, August 4th, and 11th. So it looks like they are theming it around Teen Beach Movie and Teen Beach Movie 2. And there's going to be lots of fun. Hula hoop spinning, limbo contest, snacks, and beverages. So, and the DVC member has to be present. So the guests of the DVC member can't go by themselves. The member has to be there themselves.
So it's just like a nice little bonus event.
Well, I don't follow what goes on with DVC very closely. But anecdotally, just kind of seeing what comes across my desk and hearing things like this, it seems to me like they are really upping their game with these bonus events. We
I
get to
would
see
hope so.
we get to see Tomorrowland because John's a DVC member. We get to see it ahead of everybody else because
Yeah.
John was a DVC member. They're doing all these member-only type events that really are just, hey, we want to make our members feel good.
As they should, because they're paying through the nose per point at this stage. I mean, it's
But even
A lot.
even with where the point per point values are right now, I still feel if you vacation at Disney World on a regular basis, it is absolutely worth it.
oh yeah. Well,
It
I
is
am
such
a
a
DVC
hedge.
member.
Oh, that's
but
right. That's right. You are.
I agree with that.
So,
but
even at it's still a
for
great
a
deal.
while, it felt like they were chipping away at the perks that DVC members had. I mean, originally DVC members got free entry into the parks.
Well, but they always said that was going to be limited.
Well,
That
and
that
it was,
going to be limited.
but then it started like the discounts on merchandise that you got. It wasn't as great of a discount. Then they started limiting your options as far as the discounts where you could get the discounts and so on and so forth. So things like this is encouraging to see them kind of putting a little bit back in.
Yeah.
And that's fun. Nighttime parties at Typhoon.
Heck
I've
yeah.
been to a few, and they are really fun. It's an entirely different experience. I think they should do something with like Shark Week.
So this is after.
Oh, yeah.
This is after the park is closed.
This
then.
is after the park is
Okay.
closed. This is an exclusive
Wonder what it costs
party
to rent
just for
that park
DVC
out.
members.
A
It's like
lot.
double-digit thousand, I think. Like 10 or 12, maybe. I don't know. I
Not every ride is open.
I
I
heard
think
the
you-
number once, and now I feel like an idiot.
We did it.
Stop talking.
Just staring at me.
It's a lot less expensive than Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Trust me. All right. Thank you, JL. Kathy.
I got the chance last week. I went down, Kennedy Space Center opened a new exhibit. It's called Forever Remembered. It has cases for all the astronauts that passed away on the shuttles. And it has
I was going
memorabilia.
to say, like, it's not like a crypt.
No,
They have
but
cases for all the astronauts.
With
that attend.
neon.
they have cases, like a memory case for each astronaut
That's
with
cool.
things that meant something to them. And then as you turn the corner, they have pieces of the shuttle, the two shuttles
Challenger
there.
and the Columbia.
Yeah, and there's a pretty big piece of it. And having seen the shuttles up close, intact, to see the pieces that are there, you just almost can't imagine how many forces blew it apart. And then the one, it's the cockpit windows, and you just wonder what were they thinking and it's a very solemn, quiet
Sure.
place, except for the parents that allowed their kids to go run through there and play chasers and stuff. And, I wanted to be the crotchety old woman. But it's at the Space Shuttle Atlantis building, in the new building. It's on the ground floor. It's included as part of your admission to the Space Center. It's $50 a day for adults, $40 for children. But Kennedy Space Center has a great deal. If you come to there quite often, you can get an annual pass for like $89 to $139. So if you go more than once, it's worth getting an annual pass.
It's been so long since I've been out there, and it's a shame because I love it out there, and I got to get out.
This would entice me to go see pieces of the shuttle and see the memorials for these folks.
It was something that they did, and they did it quite well. And they have 2 little movies at the end, and the one movie shows kids had done drawings and things that they had sent to the families of the astronauts, about how they felt and trying to console them. So I said it's very moving. If you followed the shuttles at all, the pieces I learned from taking a tour there a number of times. There are pieces of the shuttle buried on the grounds at the Kennedy Space Center in some silos, and there's some pieces in the vehicle assembly building. But this is the first time the pieces have been out for people to see. So
Wow.
if you're into that kind of stuff, go spend a little time. Makes you realize what all the, because sometimes when all this stuff goes on, you just think, oh, it's automatic, it happens. Yeah. You realize just how dangerous it is, and you should appreciate all the efforts that went into this space program.
These people, when they go up into space, are basically riding on a nuclear explosion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They got a death wish. I mean, honestly.
No, they don't have a death wish.
No,
They're just the truest form of heroism for the purpose of exploration, and that's exactly what our country was built on.
I just, when I did when you see the pieces, when we're on a plane and we're coming home from wherever it is we've been, and you're thinking like, oh, geez, I'm going to land in 15, 20 minutes. The one that, broke up over Texas, that, here they are, they're excited, they've been up there for 2 weeks, and just that fast,
Yeah. Exactly.
Appreciate life.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Kathy. Corey.
Okay, for the first time, 2015, we'll bring marketplaces into. This is for Food and Wine Festival. We'll bring marketplaces into Future World with the new Next Eats Festival area. The Sustainable Chew Marketplace will feature 3 dishes from the chefs on ABC's The Chew: savory pork spare ribs with cheesy mascarpone grits, ricotta and zucchini ravioli with tomato sauce, and vanilla panna cotta with fresh figs and pistachio brittle. Herbs and vegetables from the Land Pavilion will be used to create the dishes. Guests will learn more about sustainability at home and how the food is grown. The Chew Lab will be a marketplace inspired by food science labs and food tech trends.
I wonder if they'll be putting this over where Interventions has closed some stuff. If that's where or if they would do it where they have that showcase area behind the ice cream parlor.
I'm just happy that they're moving some of these to Future World to kind of stop these bottleneck areas that happen regardless of the marketplace in that area. There's always a bottleneck, so it's nice to kind of spread it out.
I agree.
Sounds fun.
All right. Thank you, Corey. Rhino.
I'm going to go off of Corey's here, too, because he mentioned the chefs from the Chew. I forgot what you said, but anyway, they're going to be taping the show there. The whole cast is going to be there taping. They're doing 5 shows. They're filming on the 7th, 8th, and 9th of October. So you can see Mario Batali, Michael Simone, Clinton Kelly, Carla Hall, and Daphne Oz will be on hand to tape for the episodes that are going to air on television the 12th through the 16th of October. And if you want information on how to get tickets to be part of the audience, you just have to go to thechew.com.
Where do you think that'll be? The America Gardens Theater, or do you think it'll be in Interventions Plaza by Spaceship Earth?
Cranium Command.
I don't know.
They're going to want an audience.
Yeah.
They don't want an audience. So, all right. Thank you, Rhino.
You're welcome.
Gregory.
Changes coming to the Tomorrowland Terrace Dessert Party. Well, as of 2 days ago, it's no longer the Tomorrowland Terrace Dessert Party. It's now the Wishes Fireworks Dessert Party. Guests will still be able to enjoy their selection of desserts, but we're also adding in Well, I'm not adding it in. They are seasonal fruits, cheese, and Disney character-themed cupcakes, and more. Because God knows Disney loves their cupcakes. A sparkling cider toast will take place as the fireworks begin. Then there's hot drinking chocolate, not to be confused with hot chocolate. And signature lemonades, coffee, and tea. Price is $49 for adults, $29 for children, tax included. Make your reservations with a travel agent. That's the best way. Dreams
Awesome.
Unlimited Travel.
Thanks for the plug. All right, folks, that is going to do it for this week. Coming up next, Kathy and the team are going to talk about the new tour, World Showcase, that she went out and did, and she's going to judge. She's going to judge Epcot right in front of all of us.
Yes.
All right, so that'll do it for me this week. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you again next time with another edition of the Dis Unplugged. Thanks for being with us, everyone. Remember, stay out of the damn lakes.